Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The question is, should God exist? We have two different parties involved. One party are the theists. They say that it is logically necessary for God to exist. And then there are the atheists who say that God does not exist. But Allah the Almighty presents reason of His own. Allah the Almighty says in the Holy Quran, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ أَمْ خَلَقُوا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بَلْ لَا يُوقِنُونَ, which basically means, it translates to, have they been created from nothing, or are they themselves the creators? Have they created the heavens and the earth? Nay, but they have no faith. Here Allah the Almighty presents four possible scenarios for the existence of the universe. One, that has the universe come from nothing? Now this is the belief of many physicists and evolutionary biologists nowadays who are atheists. They say that the universe somehow came from nothing. For example, Lawrence Krauss, who is a very notable physicist, he says that the universe can come from nothing, and an example of something coming from nothing is quantum fields, which permeate throughout our universe. And in quantum fields, particles pop in and out of existence. And this shows that things can be created from nothing because these particles are being created from nothing. But this is not nothing. Any reasonable physicist will tell you that these fields themselves, these quantum fields, are made up of particles. And these particles must have been created as well. Say, for example, that you kick a soccer ball through a soccer field. Now, would you then say that the soccer ball traveled through nothing? No, you would say that it interacted with the grass and therefore it was moving through something. That grass is not nothing, it is something. Professor David Albert, he notes this about Lawrence Krauss's notion. He says that if you wanted nothing, there should be no quantum fields. So Lawrence Krauss tries to convolute the definition of nothing to fit his narrative. Stephen Hawking, one of the most notable physicists to ever live, also has his own opinion in regards to what nothing is. He says that nothing, for example, is like when you go to a level field and you dig a hole. When you dig a hole, you simultaneously create what? You create a hill. So Stephen Hawking says that the universe, all of its energy adds up to zero. There's positive energy and there's negative energy. And if you take them, then they come to zero. Therefore, the universe comes from zero. And from zero, we have everything around us. But this is not logically tenable either. Why? You take his own example. Stephen Hawking is saying that someone is coming here and he's digging the hole. Yet he says that the whole universe does not have a creator behind it. So who dug the hole of our universe? Who took that zero and divided it into positive energy and negative energy? This is logically untenable. Any way you see it, their description of nothing does not exist. But we have matter around us. And at one point in time, matter didn't exist. What does that mean? It means that at one time, we went from a state of non-matter to a state of matter. The promised Messiah ﷺ talks about this in commentary of the verse which I recited. The promised Messiah ﷺ says, yes, it must be that at one time everything around us, the universe, came from nothing, came from non-matter. But what are two things that are necessary for the universe to exist? How did it come about? Number one, you need infinite power. You need seething power that can cause something like this to happen, this phenomenon to occur. Because you can't have no amount of energy behind it or power behind it. You have to have some force that drives non-matter to become matter. Number two, you need intelligence. You need a mind behind it, as every building has an architect, every painting has a painter. The universe must have had someone that carefully crafted and designed it. This is the first possibility that Allah the Almighty says it's foolish. Number two, did the universe create itself? Now this is logically impossible. If the universe created itself, that means it already existed. And if it already existed, what was it creating? So what some scientists say, or what some people say, is that the universe was in a state of pre-existence, and that pre-existence caused itself to be. But if it's in a state of pre-existence, that means it doesn't exist. The universe cannot create itself. This is commonly what's known as the masked man fallacy, meaning you're trying to call the universe something else. Number three, that the universe was created by something that was itself created. And a lot of people say this. They say that You guys believe that God created the universe, then who created God? This is a very common allegation, and Richard Dawkins, one of the most notable atheists of the world, he states this as well in his book, The God Delusion, that if God created the universe, then who created God? But this is logically untenable as well. Why? Let's take number one. The Holy Quran, first of all, defines God as something uncreated. Right? In the Holy Quran, Allah Ta'ala says that He's Awwal and Akhir, He's the first and the last. Meaning that before God there was nothing, there was nobody. But of course this is just our belief, right? How do we substantiate it? If you look at the idea that we have a creation, and that creation has a creator, and that creator has a creator, how far back will you go? At one time you have to stop and say, what if you don't? Say it goes on until infinity. That our creator has a creator and he has a creator, and it goes on and on and on. Then we wouldn't ever exist. This universe would not exist if there was an infinite number of creators before us. Why? It's very simple. This is called infinite regress. It's very simple. Say, for example, that you have a line of dominoes in front of you, right? You have one domino in front of you, and you have an infinite number of dominoes stretching until infinity, right? The domino that's in front of you, will it ever fall? That is the question. The answer is no. The domino in front of you will never fall. Why? Because there is an infinite number of dominoes that have to fall before your domino. So apply this to now creation and creator. Say, for example, in this scenario that the line of causing creation goes on until infinity. We would never have been created then, because there would have to be an infinite number of creations before us. Infinity means forever. Infinity means there will always be more creation to be had. Therefore, we would have never been created. So the idea that we are created from something else created is impossible. There has to be a creator, and this is what the Holy Quran says, that is uncreated, that is not bound by the physics of time. First of all, if you look at physics in any way, there is no time outside the universe. Time is a creation within the universe, and it came about after the Big Bang. So time in that regard does not even exist outside the universe. But our creator must logically be uncreated. This logic is exactly what the Holy Quran says God is. So the idea that the universe does not show the necessity that there has to be a creator is untenable. And the idea that the Holy Quran presents, that the world around us tells you that there is a God, and logic tells you that there should be a God, it exists. Now, who is that God? That is a question for another day. The identity of that God, who it is it the God of the Hindus, the Christians, the Muslims? Is it some sort of other machine? That is irrelevant to our discussion today. What we have established is that this universe must have a creator. Inshallah, until the next video, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.